Wow, thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here. Shalom, salam, shanti, peace, and really thanks for having me here. It's really important that we gather in these times to affirm in community our commitment to the values that guide us. And as Adam said, I'm partly here. I'm partly representing the faith arm of the Election Sabotage Response Network, hundreds of faith leaders across the country who were prepared to defend the election. So as we just heard so eloquently from Becca, in the time of Samuel, the people, which in the form of the elders, were active agents in establishing kingship during a time of lawlessness and danger from foreign armies. In the Bible, this was actually an act of unprecedented political agency for the people to form a kingship. In the United States today, it is unprecedented for the people to choose a president who admires autocrats and illiberal democracy. In both cases, people made decisions out of fear. In the case of the United States, the candidate amplified and exploited this fear. And this actually reminds me of a story from the Talmud, where it recounts the story of Rabbi Akiva, who continued to publicly teach Torah despite the Roman prohibition against doing so, and in fact, the threat of death. When questioned by his student Pappus about his defiance of an authoritarian regime, Rabbi Akiva responded with the parable of the fox and the fish. A fox was once walking along a riverbank and saw fish darting to and fro in the water. The fox said to the fish, "Why are you rushing about?" The fish replied, "We are fleeing from the nets that people cast to catch us." The fox then suggested, "Why don't you come up onto dry land where you and I can live together in peace, just as our ancestors did?" The fish retorted, "Are you the one they call the cleverest of animals? You are not clever, but foolish. If we are in danger, even in our natural habitat, the water, where we have a chance to survive, how much more so would we be in danger on dry land, where we would surely die?" Reflecting on Timothy Snyder's exhortation in On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century, particularly his lesson of do not obey in advance, I find parallels with Rabbi Akiva's story. Snyder warns against the dangers of preemptively surrendering to authoritarianism by modifying our behaviors and values out of fear. This lesson is crucial in today's context. Already, two of the nation's leading newspapers did not endorse a candidate out of fear of retribution. Rabbi Akiva's story teaches that we should not abandon our important practices and beliefs because we fear potential punishment. Like the fish in the parable, we should stay in our natural habitat, in our case, our values and our traditions, because that is where we truly live and thrive. Moving to dry land or abandoning our core beliefs and the actions that grow from them out of fear will only lead to our downfall. In the words of the civil rights movement, we need to keep on keeping on. The story also teaches us that, like the fish, we must manage our fears. The fish does not ignore its fears. There are real nets out there, but neither does the fish allow the fox to manipulate its fears. As faith leaders, that is part of our own work, managing our own fear and working with others to do the same. But we must begin with ourselves. Each of us must develop a practice allowing us to experience and work with our fears. It might be meditation, mindfulness, prayer, or something else. But we need to surface our fears and to understand them in order to act wisely. The people in Samuel's time acted on their fears. It is useful to note that the struggles ensuing between Samuel and the first king Saul set the tone for the subsequent struggles between prophets and kings. We continue to honor the ongoing importance of speaking truth to power. I just want to say a word about Jeremiah 7, which is also a text I was asked to think about, where Jeremiah warns the people that idolatry has replaced a religion based on justice. And at a time when exploitation, oppression, and crime are rife, and people are practicing idolatry. And we are likely entering a time of increased corruption, both crony capitalism and the perversion of our justice system. Many will be tempted to become ethically lax, the everyone else is doing it mentality, or why should I bother? It doesn't matter. We will need to make sure that our own personal conduct does not lapse. A mundane example, perhaps, why recycle or conserve water while the country gorges on fossil fuel production? Lawlessness breeds lawlessness. We need to continue to be true to our values and hold out the possibility that the time will come when justice will flow like water. Thank you.